Hello friends, my name is Robin. So today we are going to discuss multiple VPC networks. So you can see here what I'll be doing today is, so you can see we are having three VPC network. The first network, its name is my network. Second is the management network, and third is the private net. And this US Central one and Europe West one, these are the two subnets in this my network, and within private net we are having two subnet, that is US Central one and Europe West one. And in the management network we are having only a single US Central one as a subnet. So what we are trying to do is, we are having three networks, first, second and third. So we'll try to check the connectivity between these three networks. Firstly, we will create three networks, then we'll create virtual machines, like we are having first and second virtual machine and one virtual machine here. So we'll try to check the connectivity amongst one another this networks, and we'll create a one virtual machine. This is the important part. We'll create a virtual machine. So this thing is possible in Google, that you can have multiple NICs. So this virtual machine, it is having a NIC which is connected to US Central one, the network management and the private net. So we will see that how, if we're trying to connect from this to this over SSH, and we'll try to ping one another virtual machines. So this is what we are trying to do. It means we are trying to work on multiple VPC network and try to check the connectivity. So friends, we are in Google dashboard. So first thing I'm going to go is to VPC network, and in VPC network, so in VPC network, if you see, we're having two networks already there. Default is already created. When you create a network, create a project in GCP. So we are having a single project here. And this my network. So we can see here that my network, so already it is made on auto mode. So it is having many subnets. It is made in automatic mode, so it has already 24 subnets like default. There's not a major difference between default and in auto mode. So this network is already being created, so I'm going to create this management and private network. So I'll create a new network here. I'm going to give the name as management net. See, it is in custom mode, so we have to give everything by our own, the IPs and all these things. So I'm going to create a subnet. So name of the subnet is, this is the name of the network, and this is the name of the subnet. So I'm going to name it US, and the region that I'm going to choose is US Central 1. And the IP range that I'm going to choose is this one, 10.130.0.0/20, means it is having around more than 4,000 IP ranges free. Like in this network, we are having two subnet. And when we, like earlier when I showed you the default network, and it is having 24 subnets, but since we are creating in custom mode, so we have to manually add which all subnets we need. So if we want, like here we are having two subnets, but here we are in management, we are creating only one. So if you want to increase subnets, you have to just add subnet here. So this is all done. Rest everything, I'll keep everything as save, and I'm going to create this network. So the network is being created. Now it's turn to create the private network, this one. So I'm again going to open this VPC network. I'm going to name it as private net. Now it's the time to choose subnets. So here I'm having two subnets. One is in US Central one and one is Europe West one. So the name is going to be private subnet US and subnet West. So it is also going to be created in the custom mode only. So I've given the name private net. The subnet net I'm going to give it as private subnet US. The region I'm going to choose is again US Central one. And now the IP ranges. This time I'll go with the 172. So this is your wish. Because we are creating in custom mode, you can take the IP range as per your wish. So it is CIDR ranges means 24. So the number of IPs that are free will be 2 to the power it's 8 minus 2, because 32 bits are there and 32 minus 24 is 6. So 2 to the power 6 minus 2. Okay, now I'm going to create another subnet. So one I've already created. Now I'm going to create a new subnet, and it's going to be private subnet Europe. So it is going to be this one. US I have already created. Now I'm going to create the Europe. So I'm going to name it as private subnet Europe. I'm going to give it the IP range of 170. First I'll give the IP range what I'm going to do, and region I'll be selecting as Europe West one. So this is completely your wish. I mean, with whatever region is near to you, you can select that. You will get minimum latency. So now I've created the two subnets. That's it. So my thing is done. So I'll go and click on the create button. So you can see the management network has already been created with this one subnet. This private subnet is we have created two subnets. It will show here too. So our networking part is done. Means we have created this. We have created the management. We have created the VPC. We have created the it's my network. And now, so I believe it is yes. So we can see here two subnets are created. So these are the two subnets. So we are done with our work. Management network single subnet, two subnet, and as default and my network it is 24 subnets. So now I'll go and create virtual machines. So here I have to go to compute and select VM instances. So I have already created two virtual machines which are being here 10.128.0 and 132.2. So this I've already created, which means that in this network already two machines are there which are being created as this 132.2 and 128.2. It's a very simple trick that why it has got two IP, two like the internal IP as two, because and this external IPs are ephemeral, which means that they are allocated whenever you switch off your virtual machine. So automatically the IP will be changed. They are not the static IPs, which means they are not fixed. So I was telling about this, the internal IPs, because the network IP is 0.0 and the 1 will be given to the gateway. So obviously the next IP will be 2. So if you create the one more virtual machine, it's going to be 3, 4. Similar for this one. So now I'm going to create virtual machine for the private network. So I'm going to click here to create a virtual machine. So before creating the virtual machine, I will go and first create the firewall rules. Because the networks we have created, we have to create the firewall rules for that also. So I am going to create the firewall rule for this management network. Okay, so I'm going to name it as management allow ICMP, SSH and RDP. So these three things I want to get enabled into this. Rest everything should be blocked. Okay, so now for creating a firewall rule, they're asking which network, since we are having 4 networks. So I'll go and click the management network. So which direction for ingress means whatever the traffic that is coming, we are going to block that except ICMP, SSH and RDP. So we are not like now we are not working on any tags. So I want that all the instances which are trying to enter in this network, that should be my targets. I want to filter them as per their IP ranges and what IP ranges I want to select, that which IPs I want to block. So the IPs, each and every IP that is there out, which means that any machine or anyone who's trying to enter into this network will be blocked except the ICMP, SSH, RDP requests. Okay, so what else? So I want to specify some ports and protocols which I want to enable. Okay, so specify ports, and I'm not allowing all, I'm specifying that which ports I want it should be open. So the port that I want is port 22 for TCP. For TCP, the ports that I want is 22, comma. For additional information about the ports, you can go and search that for what purpose these ports are used. Fine. And One more thing, that ICMP protocol you can mention here, it's ICMP. So if you want to do all these things through CLI, so it is also possible. So we have to go to SSH and try out this code, but since we are working on console, so no need. So this is how you create a firewall policy, and I'm going to create it. So this one rule will be created. No, it is being created. So it has been created, management rule. So this one is the firewall rule that we have created. I believe I need to create one more for the private net. So same, I'm going to name it as what I have chosen for this management. So name, I'm going to choose this. Again, same thing I will do. Private net, I'm not going to allow on the basis of tags, so I'm going to go here with the what we have chosen for the previous management firewall. Same we are going to do here. The network I have chosen as private, priority is 1000. The direction means whatever traffic that is hitting this network, we are trying to block that. We want that all instances in the network IP range. So we'll again go with the 0, which means all the IPs which are there, and now coming on to the ports and protocols, so I'll go with 22 and 3389. And other protocols that I want is ICMP. So that's it, and I'm going to create. So you can check the private network firewall rule is being created. So it's here. So these two I have created. Like I'm going to click for better. 223389 and ICMP. So these two rules I have created. Now I am going to create the virtual machines in these two networks, which means I'm going to create one virtual machine here. So in the management network, I'm going to create a virtual machine. So here it goes. It's going to be very simple how to create a virtual machine. I'm going to name it as, if you don't know how to create a virtual machine, I have made a video. Just go to my channel and you'll find how to create a virtual machine. The region I'll be choosing is US Central 1 and US Central 1C. The family, I'll go with the series N1. I'll go with the first generation because this is just for the demo purpose. And this is the virtual machine I'll be going with. Now I'll be choosing that which network I'll want this machine to be. So I'll click here and I'll go to the networking. Now comes here that which network. So I'll be clicking here pencil. The network that I want this to be is management network. Yes, everything is going to be default. Like I said, it's gonna be ephemeral, or if you want that it should be static, we can make this a static like this. If you want to keep some reserved static IP, so it's going to be that. Same as with the external. And I'll done and I'll create the virtual machine. Now I go, so here I've created a virtual machine. Now I'm going to create a virtual machine in private network. So it is being created. I'll create one more virtual machine till the time that is being created. I'm going to name it as private net US VM. So this is the name of the virtual machine, and I believe region I'm going to keep it as same only. Again have to go with the N1 series. And again I have to go to the management networking, click here. I want this to be in private network. Rest I will keep everything as same. Done, and click on create. So the virtual machine is created. My virtual machine is created 130.2. 130. This is the virtual machine itself, 130.2. And this is being created 172.16.0.2. Once it is being created, 116.0.2. So the virtual machine is created. Now what we will do is we will create one more virtual machine. We'll name it as Vm Appliance, and we'll give it 3 NICs. Fine. So then later we will check the connectivity. So before I'll create the virtual machine, let me show you the connectivity between each other. So now what I'm trying to do is I've taken the SSH console of the US virtual machine, this MyNet US virtual machine SSH. So now I'm trying to ping the other networks. So now I am going to ping, suppose I want to ping from here to Europe. Means I'm trying to ping from this US to Europe. So obviously it will ping. Okay, I've entered the wrong command. The correct command is this one. I'll paste the IP and this, so it is pinging. Now I will try to ping the external IP. It will also ping. So it is also pinging. But if this and this external IP is put, but if I try to ping from here to here, the internal IP, it will not ping. So I'll see whether that works or not. So now I'll be choosing the, suppose, management's internal IP. It will not ping. So it is not pinging, you can see. Which means I tried to ping the internal IP from here to here, it will not work. But now if I try to ping the external IP, it will surely going to work. Okay, again I put the wrong command. So that is the external IP, and you can see that it is working. Which means in a same network, the internal IPs can talk to each other. The machines with the internal IPs, they can talk to each other, and with the external IPs also. But if you have to go over the network, you have to go through external IPs only. And same is happening with this one also, 172. If I try to ping the external IP of this private, sorry, I'll work with the internal first. So if I go with the internal, it will not work. But if I go with the external one, it will work. So you can see the external IP is working. So I think I've made clear that how the network works. Means you can talk from one network to other network over the external IP not with the internal IP, but within the same network you can talk with external and internal both. Now what I will do is I will create a VM appliance virtual machine named VM Appliance, and I'm going to give it 3 NICs. So this is important, how you give 3 NICs to a single virtual machine. It's very simple. You have to click virtual machine, like you have to create a virtual machine, and in the management network you have to just give it 3 NICs. So I'm going to name it as VM Appliance. The region is I'm going to keep it same, US Central 1S and US Central C. It is N1. For this one I'll go with N1 standard 4, and I'll be going to the network here, and here what I have to do is I have to give it multiple interfaces. How? I'll show you. Add interface, network, private net, rest I'll keep it as same. I'll add one more, management network, everything same, which means I've given it the private network access, the management network access, and my network. Because default and my network is having same IP, so I have to delete that. So you can see that I'm having given three NICs here: private net, management, my network. This virtual machine, private net, management net, and my network. And I'm going to create. So the Vm Appliance is created. Vm Appliance it's created. So now what I will do, I will open its SSH, which I have created here, the Vm Appliance SSH, and I will try to ping from here. So from virtual machine, suppose from this virtual machine, if I try to ping the internal network, whether I'm able to be successful or not. So I'll check. Ping -C3, control V. Okay, it is not copying. So again, I will copy. It's copied now. I will put and I'll enter. So it's working. Okay, so it is not working. Let me check which all NICs it is having. So I will again try to ping this. It's not pinging. So friends, we are not able to ping this virtual machine. This is because whenever an appliance, because it is having three NIC cards, for three NICs, I mean for all three networks. So what happens, like this, if I check the IP route, so whenever the IP route will goes, so H0, it will go to this network because it will live in US. So all the US zones are pingable. Like what I have seen is that it is working, ping, it is pinging, it is also pinging, and same is with the external IP, but not this one, because uh, the NIC, the routing will not work. If you have to change, you can change this thing manually. So that is all from my side. Thank you very much. If you have any questions regarding this, feel free to share your questions in the comment box. Thank you very much.